Standing on the edge of reality, sleepwalk toes on a paper-thin ledge. Every thought like a moth in a jar, wings beating cracks in the glass. Looking at a hole in the air, breath held tight in my teeth. All the rules peel off like paint, all the names fall off my grief. I look into the dark till the dark looks back at me. Red eyes burning in the black, like they know what I can't see. On the edge of what I am, on the edge of what I'll be. I look into the void, and the void looks back at me. Yeah. Shadows twitch under my skin, crawl slow up the walls. Every scream's just a distant cousin of the echo in my skull. Howlers sing in a language that tastes like metal and snow. Ghosts fade through my fingers, taking every place I could go. I look into the dark till the dark looks back at me. Red eyes burning in the black, like they know what I can't see. On the edge of what I am, on the edge of what I'll be. I look into the void, and the void looks back at me. If I jump, do I fall, or do I wake up? If I turn, do I lose what held me up? Every fear has my face, has my voice. Every choice, just another kind of oh. I look into the dark till the dark looks back at me. Red eyes burning in the black, like they know what I can't see. On the edge of who I was, on the edge of who I'll be. I look into the void, and the void looks back at me. Standing on the edge of reality, whisper, are you still me? The abyss just breathes, then softly hands my gaze back to me.
Welcome to Duck in a Raincoat, spooky stuff and odd ideas. The world is full of strange, and we want to talk about it. This is my oldest friend, Bella.
Hi.
And my husband, Krypton.
Hello.
We'll introduce our topic for the day in just a second. We're going to start with the icebreaker because there's a story here. So, I looked up some Easter traditions. We've got our basic ones, right? Like, you've got your Easter bunny, you've got church on Sunday, depending on where you're from. We're from the South, so definitely church on Sunday, which none of us did. So, I found some other ones that are not your typical American ones. On the Isle of Man, there was a tradition lasting into the 1850s that no iron should touch a fire on Good Friday. I didn't find a lot of details about like what was going to happen if it did, but obviously, like, we were not working on Good Friday. This one I thought was very unusual and is going to sound very strange and foreign to Southern ears, and maybe Americans. Easter witches. Easter witches, yes. In Finland and Sweden, dressing in scarves and painted on freckles to trade decorated willow branches for treats. It gets giving very Halloweeny.
Can we get this started here?
Right? Can we be Easter witches? Wear scarf, paint freckles on. I already got freckles, but like,
Same, but I'll go trade sticks for treats.
right? No, this one's old though. In the 1500s, Queen Elizabeth I passed a law restricting the consumption of hot cross buns to Good Friday, Christmas, and burials due to purported magical properties. Now, hot cross bun is this kind of roll biscuit thing with a cross on it. Usually it's filled with like spices, sometimes it's fruit, kind of fruitcakey almost.
It's not the song we all learned to play on the recorder in 4th grade.
Some of us didn't learn to play the recorder in 4th grade because we were homeschooled. But the magical properties included not expiring for a year if baked on Good Friday, warding off evil spirits, good luck and protection, and making friendships last the full year if shared. Like specifically the Good Friday hot cross buns had to be shared. Yes. So Queen Elizabeth,
Okay.
yeah, was heavily restricted hot cross buns. In Corfu, Greece, I hope I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. And I'm trying though. Bottides, okay, is a tradition also known as pot throwing. Not weed. Not that kind of pot. The tossing of clay pots out of upper windows and off of balconies to ward off evil spirits. Just
Okay, again.
be gone.
Can we do that here?
Right? Like, my porch would be perfect for that.
It really would.
Okay, and this last one is the one that landed me on the topic we landed on. Okay, so in Norway they have påskekrim, which I'm again trying to say correctly, but I'm not swearing to, which is also known as Easter crime. Påske is several languages, but is French and it as well for Easter, and it comes from an older word that has to do with Passover, and so there's that connection there. The Påskekrim is the result of a book promotion in 1923. Think what happened with War of the Worlds on Halloween here. Much like, and also like a certain cola brand and Saint Nick, a commercial effort was so realistic and engaging that it became a tradition. The book, Bergen Train Looted in the Night, I did not get the Norwegian title because I was not going to be able to pronounce it correctly. And it created a tradition of reading, watching, and listening to crime stories during Easter. They actually ran a story in a paper saying that there had been a robbery on this train at night. And then like lower in the article, it's like, if you want to read about this, it's actually from this novel. But it caught on so hard that telling each other crime stories is a pastime on Easter in Norway.
Huh.
It's a thing they do. So I thought, in the Norwegian tradition, because, we all are, not really, I would tell you a crime story. Which brings me to our topic. Today is going to be the Oklahoma Girl Scout tragedy. Now, this episode contains content that may be upsetting, and while we aren't getting into the more gruesome details, our story does include child and animal bad stuff. If you have to skip this one, we understand. We'll see you next time, and no hard feelings. It's not for everyone. We're going to touch on the crime briefly, highlight the victims and who they were. But then we're going to tiptoe into the paranormal because the primary suspect in this crime, well, there was just some stuff, and we'll get into it. Normally I wouldn't focus this hard on the criminals, but that's where the stuff is. So, on June 13th in 1977, there were 3 Girl Scouts. Tragically, their lives were ended at Camp Scott here in Oklahoma. It's about an hour away from where we are right now. It's about an hour southeast-ish of us. There were 3 girls who lost their lives. They were a lot of the stories and coverage you read about this. It says they were 10, 9, and 8. They've messed up somebody's age because I looked at their dates of birth. They've messed up somebody's age, I think, because 9, 8, 9, and 10 sounds good. They were 10, 10, and 8. Doris Denise Miller, age 10, was a straight A student. She taught herself to read, write, and do math early, preschool age. She loved music and dance. She liked to choreograph dances for her cousins. She attended a school in Tulsa for the gifted. She didn't want to stay at camp and tried to back out of going. She had some friends that were going with her. They had to back out. Her mom talked her into going anyway. And she did quickly become fast friends with the 2 girls she shared a tent with. The second girl is Lori Farmer. She was 8. She was a gymnast and a reader. She had just finished Where the Red Fern Grows before leaving for camp. She was the oldest of 5 and a doting big sister. She was an animal lover, and she brought home a lot of strays. She was the youngest girl at camp. Then there was Michelle Heather Gus. She was 10. It was her second year of camp. She'd done this before. She grew African violets, and she loved her houseplants. She was very worried about her houseplants. She enjoyed hiking and crafting at camp and was very excited to be there again. So Camp Scott is near Locust Grove, Oklahoma. It's in the Cookson Hills in the eastern part of Oklahoma. It's kind of in an area between Stillwell, Oklahoma City, Sallisaw, and Tahlequah. I don't know why Oklahoma City is in here. That's not right. Anyway, Oklahoma City is kind of over there. The area became part of the Cherokee Nation in the early 1800s until 1907 when Oklahoma became a state. It is, because of a lot of things that have happened politically, still the Cherokee Nation. We'll get into that a little bit more because we will talk about McGirt in a minute. And that's, if you're not from Oklahoma, I don't know how much you've heard about McGirt, but I will give you a brief primer in a moment. So it was a hideout of sorts for criminals over the years. The Depression-era bank robber Charles Arthur Pretty Boy Floyd, who my great-grandfather swore we were related to. Rufus Buck. I've never heard of Rufus Buck, actually. The Dalton Gang. The Doolins, the James Brothers, Belle Starr, Cherokee Bill, Wilbur Underhill, and then more recently, the fugitive Gene Leroy Hart. We'll get to him. So, it was the 50th anniversary of Camp Scott. They had all gotten settled, had everybody in their tents, and a storm comes in about 7 p.m. So they kind of wrapped up dinner and all their stuff early and got everybody in their tents because the tents were built on a platform and built to weather Oklahoma storms, which takes some doing in a tent. I've weathered an Oklahoma storm or 2 in a tent. It's an experience because I don't know, storms here are crazy.
Yeah, I think every single time you and I have ever been in a tent, it's rained on us.
Yep.
And at least once there was almost a tornado on us.
Yeah, that was the one where we ended up in the camper, right?
Yeah.
One of my camping trips out at Osage Hills, we actually booked like a wall tent, like what we're talking about, that has the platform and everything. And we got woke up by a park ranger. It's like, so there's a tornado warning, and you should probably take cover.
Okay,
thanks.
Didn't you get woke up by a raccoon stealing a taco once?
Yes, this is the same trip. The tent did not seal properly, and one of my children had brought Taco Bell into the tent, which you're not supposed to do. And I woke up with a raccoon right by my face stealing a taco and running out the tent. And then I woke the entire campsite up because
there was a raccoon
right by my face. Oklahoma stories.
So I'm going to keep going while we're dealing with some technical issues. So the girls were in tent 8, which was,
I think we got it.
let me see if I can draw you a picture mentally. Okay, so there's a fire in the middle, and the main hall and kind of a cabin where like the adultier adults stayed, like over here. And then there was a U-shaped set of tents that come around the fire. The girls were in the youngest girls, which, right, anybody who's ever worked with kids is going to know this is a terrible idea. The youngest girls were in the farthest away tent from any adults or sponsors, older campers, anything like that. They were kind of off on the end.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of reasons that have nothing to do with crime, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
They're going to need the most help. They're new and going to get scared. There's all kinds of reasons to have those girls with older campers. But it was the 70s. We didn't think about that back then. I say we, I was not alive. And I grew up in the area where every outing consisted of a talk about manners and a talk about what to happen if somebody tried to kidnap you.
Yeah.
It was an 80s and 90s thing. So I'm hearing 3 little girls farthest away from the big adults. And I'm thinking, like, why?
I think I saw something where they put them there because that was the tent closest to the restrooms.
Bathrooms? That makes sense.
But
That's
still,
right.
ugh,
Yeah, like put the oldest girls next to them and go the other way or something.
Yeah,
I don't
something.
know. Like, but again, I'm a child of a different time, and honestly, my childhood was directly affected by this because we grew up an
Yes.
hour and a half from where this happened.
Yeah.
I grew up thinking it was an urban legend.
I grew up with a dad who was a cop and knew it wasn't an urban legend and therefore was not allowed to do anything.
So obviously, we come from a different time than when this happened a little bit. So, all 3 girls between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. were tragically, their lives were ended. 2 by blunt force trauma, 1 by strangulation, and they all were violated. At 6 a.m., Carla Wilhite, who was one of the adults there, was on her way to the showers when she discovered the first little girl who was just off the path. And then when they went to check on the other 2, they found them. There was a cabin at a farm nearby that was also burglarized. There were several items found evidence-wise that came from this cabin. So those 2 crimes were connected. They had dogs out tracking scents. They had men out looking. And unfortunately, that led to corruption of some evidence because you had people all over it. There are some footprints that are in evidence that it's still questioned. Is this a footprint from our murderer, or is it a footprint from someone else? So the evidence did include footprints that are questionable, DNA, which we'll fortunately get to in a minute. Obviously, we're not doing a lot with DNA in the 70s, but that so many cases, DNA evidence was preserved to be re-examined later. Several small items from that cabin burglary, and then there was a carving on a nearby cave wall with a date carved year first, which was
Odd.
because that's not how we do it. 1977, 6/17, the killer was here. Bye-bye, fools, is what the inscription says. Parents were summoned to the camp that day, and they were only told that there had been a tragedy.
This is the part that really makes me sick.
The parents were held separately from the children, and so the parents of the 3 girls who were killed did not find out their kids had died until the other kids were released. And so basically you have all these kids being reunited with their parents, and then you've got 3 sets of parents that are like, where are my kids? And that's when they told them what had happened. Obviously that was poorly done, to say the least. There were a lot of missteps in the initial handling of this. Fortunately, when it comes to justice, it gets better from there. So there were 4 suspects A Sonny Jack James. He had been in the area and immediately lawyered up when asked questions about the crime. He was actually in jail on unrelated charges, so that made him pretty highly suspicious. A Bill Stevens, who, while high and intoxicated, claimed to have committed the crimes. He knew some details, but was missing kind of crucial ones. So he could have gotten details from
Right.
a newspaper or something. But they did look at him as a suspect. A man named Frank Justice, who was a known alcoholic, who had related arrests. They never got too far into what the related arrests were. I think they were, though, mostly sexual battery, which is basically inappropriate touching.
Yeah.
Which is illegal, by the way. But not murder. Not. He did know about the writing on the cave wall. And he was acquainted with Gene Hart, which tells me that he probably knew more than he ever said.
Yeah.
I don't know about his involvement, but he was acquainted with, we get to the last one, which is Gene Leroy Hart. He was acquitted of this crime. The jury did not feel like there was enough evidence to convict him. I looked at the evidence. I could go on a Scott Peterson bunny trail, but I won't. I'll just say I have looked at some cases where men were convicted of crimes. And I've looked at the evidence and gone, I think he did it, but not beyond a reasonable doubt. And I get why the jury was iffy. It was pretty laid out, and the jury acquitted this guy. And they should not have, in my opinion. That is my opinion. So he had escaped jail 4 years prior to the date of the crimes. He was in jail on other charges that were semi-related. He had kidnapped and raped 2 pregnant women. Did not kill them. But he had escaped from jail and had been on the loose for 4 years, hiding out in the area. He'd grown up about a mile away from where the Girl Scout camp was, so he knew the area well. There were photos and papers that belonged to him that were found nearby, stuff that had his fingerprints on it in the area. Of course, once he was finally recaptured, and we'll get to that because that's part of the reason we're talking about this here. Once he was finally captured, he only made it 2 more years in prison. So he died without being convicted of this. However, he was serving a 305-year sentence for other crimes. That he didn't serve that one, and he never faced justice for this either. Fortunately, due to McGirt, the McGirt decision, which this is McGirt versus the Oklahoma Supreme Court, basically, because tribal treaties on a federal level were never dissolved historically, there is language in those that allow for tribal citizens to be tried by a court of their peers, and what that means is in a tribal court in the state of Oklahoma. So there were a lot of convictions that were overturned and then retried by tribal court, which created a nightmare for local law enforcement here. Definitely let some injustices slide through, because there was this time where they were having to reestablish a tribal court for some tribes here. However, in the process of this, the new tribal courts started looking at old cases, cold cases, things that Oklahoma had prosecuted but had not been, there hadn't been a conviction, they'd never been solved, things like that. So Cherokee Nation tribal court picked up the evidence from this crime and tested the DNA. And what the lab tech said was, while we can't, without a question, confirm that it was Gene Leroy Hart, we ruled out all the other suspects. 3 of the 5 samples matched him. So it is highly likely that he is the man that committed this crime. So I guess there's there should be some allegedlys in here, but the evidence is there.
Yeah.
The evidence is there. And so we've covered this horrible crime. There are some things that happened around the investigation and search after this crime that get a little odd. So, first of all,
And
mid-invest...
And that brings us to the paranormal side of this.
Yes, because there is an entire second part to this, especially when it comes to Jean Hart, but it ties in with other parts of the investigation too. So, mid-investigation, we're talking about a weekend. This Girl Scout camp is crawling with investigators. These are trained investigators. There are some volunteers. There are people from the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, local sheriff's office, local police that have volunteered to help as well. All there searching the woods, gathering evidence, looking for the suspects, because they wanted to question Jean Hart pretty early on because they knew he lived in the area and hadn't been able to track him down. So, swarming this place, there was a bag that appeared on the back stairs of the Great Hall at the Girl Scout camp with a pair of shoes in it and a pair of socks in it, and it was labeled Doris Milner. It was a location where people had been coming and going repeatedly, and the shoes were definitely not there until guards were drawn away into the woods by the silhouette of a man. And then when they came back, this bag with these shoes and a pair of pink socks, both sopping wet, not in an evidence bag. Like, it did not describe the bag. I get the impression that it's a paper bag, but I don't know that. Not an evidence bag used by OSBI, not an evidence bag used by local police. Just another bag. Up here on the back steps. Strange things had also happened leading up to camp, but went unreported. So we talked a little bit about the note last night when we talked about this. There was a box of donuts that all the donuts were taken out of it, and a note left in it that said, "We're on a mission to kill 3 girls in one tent." It also, though, had a lot of rantings and ramblings about aliens and maybe a ghost in the woods, something else. There was a lot of kind of off-the-wall stuff.
There's a lot of crazy, and then there's, by the way,
we're going to kill 3 people. So it was reported to the head of the camp, and the head of the camp was like, "I'm pretty sure this is just a prank," and kind of dismissed it, never reported it to police or anything. So it didn't come up until the investigation had started. So then there was no physical evidence of that or anything like that to examine. But in addition to, and around the same time as the note, there was also an effigy in the form of a man found hanging by a tree from its neck with its genitals exposed and personal items kept disappearing from tents in the area. Yeah. So again,
odd. Yeah.
Yeah. So strange things happened leading up to, and they had people like staying at the camp, coming and going from the camp, preparing for this 50th anniversary camp that had found these things. Then, as they began trying to track Jean Hart to find him, bring him in, because he was an escapee already. So he was wanted for other reasons as well, but they really wanted to question him about these murders. They brought in, they called them the Wonder Dogs. And they were highly trained dogs from Pennsylvania. Great at tracking. They also had local dogs tracking too. So they had these dogs tracking through the woods, and the dogs would catch a scent, run down a trail, get to a clearing, and then run in circles. And then start barking like whatever they were on the scent of had taken off up into the air. But they had been tracking a man. Yeah. Um,
That's weird.
that is
Very weird.
unusual. So, let's see. I lost my spot. So this kept happening. The other thing is, a rumor started in the town that the Wonder Dogs, because they were doing well, were cursed by a local medicine man. And I am from Oklahoma. I have grown up around Native Americans. Some of this, the way white people historically talked about Native Americans and their religion, traditions, and mysticism may sound disrespectful. I am reading you the terms that this was written in. So consider it as a from the time it's from. So there was this rumor that the dogs were cursed by a medicine man who was helping Jean Hart, and that they were going to die, basically. And in fact,
The dogs were
the dogs
okay.
Were cursed to die.
Okay.
And unfortunately, on the first day of searching, one of the dogs did pass away from heat exhaustion. The other had worked for a few more days and was on its way back to Pennsylvania, and this well-trained dog got out of its enclosure and ran straight into traffic and was hit by a car and also tragically passed.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so there was a rumor, and the rumor, they started talking about the rumor that the dogs had been cursed by someone before anything happened to the dogs. Like it wasn't one of those, well, afterwards we decided they were cursed.
Right.
Because that does happen. But people were concerned because that rumor had started around. Then there is a set of rumors about Jean Hart from his first prison stay. So OSBI agent Harvey Pratt was working undercover on the Camp Scott case. He had gone in and talked to people that Jean Hart was in prison with. He was part of the group trying to locate him. So he had heard from multiple people, including deputies at the Mays County Jail, that Jean Leroy Hart had the ability to shapeshift, sometimes into an animal.
Oh, hell no.
Right?
Just no.
We found the note, right?
To be fair, there's been a whole lot of nope in all of this.
Right.
But
Yeah, the whole thing's been a whole lot of nope.
Nope.
So he states in a DVD documentary, someone Cry for the Children, which comes from the earliest book written on this case, that a jailer at the Mays County Jail told him of being taunted and laughed at by Hart. Hart would say that he was able to slip through the bars of his cell and escape. Hart did escape twice from the Mays County Jail. By natural means the first time, by sawing through the bars with a hacksaw blade. But the second escape, the details are not clear. Which brings this entire thing into a step aside from the tragedy that happened with the Girl Scouts that brought this kind of all out into public comment. But now you've got someone who escaped multiple times from jail while serving a 305-year sentence, who was in the area at the time of this crime, and while they were searching for him, dogs would track him and lose the scent and react in a way that was very clearly like something went up.
Yeah.
After running in circles.
Yeah.
So, what do we know about shapeshifters in Native American lore? There's a word a lot of people won't say.
I mean, I'll say it. I mean, hopefully it's not going to mess with anybody. I mean, there's even a TV show named after it. So,
Well, that's because there's a ranch named after it.
So, I mean, Native American shapeshifters, they call them skinwalkers. Of course, most Native Americans aren't going to be like, hey, let's talk about this.
No.
So,
So there was a medicine man that was helping the OSBI and investigators. And I do have a transcript of, not a transcript, like a retelling of a conversation that I cannot remember his first name, Wilkerson, that wrote the book and the documentary. He says, by the way, Crying Wolf, do you know what a Stigini is? And this is Stigini in a way I have never seen it spelled. Crying Wolf says, no. Wilkerson says, well, let me tell you what I know about the Stigini. I've heard that it's a great medicine owl which sleeps under the cedar tree. I have also heard that Gene Hart has the ability to change himself into the Stigini. Personally, I believe this is ridiculous, but I would like to get your thoughts on it. Crying Wolf says, first of all, I will not discuss the Stigini with you because that is something of which you should not know. The belief in this transformation is quite prevalent. A great number of Cherokee people believe that a person can transform himself into another being, whether they want to hide under a leaf, go into a rock, or whether they literally want to become an owl or any other animal. Wilkerson says, do you believe Gene Hart could do this? Crying Wolf says, I do not believe he could. He may, however, use these legends to his own benefit. He is not the quality of person who could perform these deeds, but he could enhance his image by using terms and knowledge of the old Cherokee ways so that he may give the appearance that he is performing these deeds. Opportunities to use these tricks would simply enhance his image. Wilkerson says, you're not going to talk to me about the Stigini, are you, Crying Wolf? Crying Wolf says, no, I am not. Again, these are things you should not know about.
Okay.
Obviously, some of us are not Native American.
You are too white for this. Stop asking.
Yes. And it is something that they absolutely are not going to share with outsiders. And so I can't claim any firsthand or first person knowledge. I can tell you things that I've read, tell you a handful of things I've seen. I've seen deer do weird stuff that deer shouldn't do. And I don't just mean eat a bird. That means they have a mineral deficiency. So he begins, they begin, Wilkerson talks about Hart's claim that he can turn into an animal.
Mm-hmm.
And when you stack that up with the way dogs reacted while following
Looking
his
up in the
trail,
air.
and Crying Wolf says he's going to pretend he can do this, but he can't. He's not, what did he say?
The quality of person.
He's not the quality of person that can do this. I have met some people that's a good way of describing it. They are not the quality of person to be able to do some of the things they've claimed to be able to do.
Yeah.
We're all thinking about the same person. I know we are.
Probably, yeah.
His friend is named Ash.
Mm-hmm.
So, but have still managed to put that air about themselves, make claims, see things, have things surround them that do give an impression of something, but it doesn't match up with what they claim.
But it's still a lot of very weird.
Yes.
I know I've been quiet. I have so many issues with this whole topic because I've got 2 daughters. I got a granddaughter, and it just kind of it sets off the dad protective, angry
parental
kind
rage.
of, and
Yep.
So I've been quiet because of this, but okay. So if we're talking about some kind of guy who could possibly change the shape or whatever as being the culprit, all right. If he can't change himself into this owl thing, then what if he's changing his appearance to something else that flies?
Yeah.
I guess that's a possibility, but it's like, is there any other kind of paranormal thing that we could discuss in this? Is that it? Is it just could be him changing shape?
There was a lot of talk about a family friend of his who had a cabin in the area that hid him for these 4 years, being a medicine man. I don't know a lot about Native American mysticism, or what from the outside I guess I'd call witchcraft, although I know they wouldn't call it that. But I do know there are plenty of things in other belief systems that are used to create confusion. There's an ad.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this in a world where the ad doesn't exist, we're going to just hang out until the ad is over. Like, go get a drink or it's what we do. Go get a drink or something. Good idea.
At least it's all at the same time, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Because anybody who's told me it's an ad, it's
what's an ab?
It's all the same.
Not an ab.
I was like, I pull the stream up over here.
Do you need me to, or is that yours?
What?
Oh, okay.
I've got my phone. Okay, according to this, I think we're
here.
Yeah,
she said, I'm back.
Cool. Okay, we're back. We're back from the ab.
Said ad.
No, it's a...
My children used to call them abs every time they were on a YouTube video.
No, Mom, it's an ab. Oh no, an ab. Hold on, let me mute that. Okay. So, we're all thoroughly depressed by dead Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
Easter tradition of crime.
We're following tradition.
Yeah. So, there are several things that are used to cast confusion, cloaking, hiding oneself from the eyes of whoever. I wonder if there is anything that would make you be able to jump a long way.
I don't know. In real life, as far as mysticism and things, I don't know.
Well, here's another consideration, and it's probably because we were talking about missing 411 and David Paulides the other day, but what if it was Bigfoot? I don't think it was Bigfoot.
It's not Bigfoot. It's not Bigfoot.
Remember a lot Bigfoot. Well,
the dog's running around and chasing the trail, and then running around in circles looking up in the air is... That one's the one that gets me.
Yeah. Like, there's...
Yeah, it's
defies any
that one's...
explanation
Especially,
of
these
that.
are trained dogs, well-trained dogs. These are not just...
Right, it's not like we let Mouse out there and said, go find
No,
him.
this isn't
Yeah.
Farmer Larry with his bloodhound that's a real
Uh-huh.
good tracker. These dogs, this is their job. This is what
Yeah.
they live for.
And I have
They don't do that.
met some police canines, and some well-trained dogs, that are search and rescue and drug sniffers and biting dogs.
Mhm.
And they don't relax.
No.
Those dogs are always at an 11.
Yeah.
Like, there is no, like, and because there are some trained, like, interdiction dogs that are biting dogs that you literally cannot touch.
No.
And they're like a mess waiting to happen. But, like, a well-socialized police canine still does not have an off switch.
No.
And so when you're talking about these dogs, like, when we say they live for it, that literally,
That is their sole purpose in
they
life.
do not know what to do if they are not sniffing drugs, tracking people, whatever.
Yes.
They are hard workers and don't know how to do anything else.
Right.
And so, yeah, like, this isn't, Billy Bob's Coonhound or whatever. This is this is a working dog.
We'll explain why that's funny on a different episode.
Oh yeah. I don't know how we're. Well, he fits right into the Bigfoot episode.
Yeah. No, this was a hard episode.
It's rough stuff. Of course, the first toe into true crime. It has to be children.
I'm saying that. I mean, I'm a mother to a 9-year-old girl who was a Girl Scout. So, like, we're talking about this, and I'm picturing her in her little daisy vest, and like the entire time, like I said, you grew up thinking it was an urban legend.
Yeah.
I grew up with a dad who was a police officer who very much knew it was not an urban legend. I mean, I grew up at a very young age knowing all the different ways bad people could possibly hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, even when my daughter was in Girl Scouts and they would start bringing up, like, camps and stuff like that, and it's like, unless I can go and sleep on the floor,
Yep.
preferably armed,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. No, this is... Well,
It left that big of a mark,
this happened
and still
with
leaves that big of
so-
a mark.
In 1977, my mom would have been going into in summer of 77, she'd been going into her senior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what she knew about. I was never in Girl Scouts. It was never a question. It was never encouraged. And I can't help but think that this has something to do with that.
Okay, so when I was growing up, I wanted to be in Girl Scouts, and my parents always said no. And they would put it off on it was church, and it contradicted with church schedules, and it contradicted with this. And then really, because I looked into this when I was older,
Mm-hmm.
and I started talking about it with my parents, and like, no, that was the real reason you didn't join Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
You did not join Girl Scouts because we were in Oklahoma area at the time this happened. No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Did you ever want to join Girl Scouts, Krypton? Did they tell you no?
No, I just wanted the cookies.
Dude, I do miss having the cookie hookup because my daughter's not currently in scouting and she's talking about wanting to get back into it. And it's like, okay, I'm going to have the cookie hookup again. But I also have to help sell the cookies, and that just...
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
And I volunteered with a program that was not traditional scouting, Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. But it was affiliated with Boy Scouts of America. It was one of their like career specific programs that they do. And
sorry, Rosalie says Thin Mints all the way.
Yeah.
Samoas.
Thin Mints are best if frozen.
Samoas still beat Thin Mints.
I like the peanut butter ones.
The tagalongs. Tagalongs are good. I miss the Savannah Smiles. They're the little lemon ones that were coated in powdered sugar. Those were the best, and they don't make them, and it makes me sad.
Those are good. I like the very traditional shortbread ones.
Oh, the tree! You can't go wrong with the trefoil.
And Thin Mints. And Thin Mints are best frozen. If you haven't ever tried them frozen, you should try them
I
frozen.
don't recommend the gluten-free ones.
They taste like they're gluten-free.
Mhm.
Some of us just eat the cookies and endure the pain.
Made with sadness. That's right.
Yes.
Made with
The
sadness.
gluten-free ones.
But I have seen the training now that adults go through. Well, and it's in a lot of programs where you work with kids, because there have been a lot of people that have gone, okay, we need some protections, because there was that entire thing that happened within the Catholic Church, and then a lot of things that happened within Boy Scouting, and then a lot of things that would just happen.
Yeah, you can't just let anyone work with children.
Right. So
there need to be rules
I
and
don't
investigations.
know. Dennis Rader was a Boy Scout leader that never did anything sketchy with boys, but he did a lot of other sketchy stuff. Again, lots of reasons. Dennis Rader.
There's some paranormal shit with him too.
Is there?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Okay, so not going to be quite as depressing.
No.
To talk about Dennis Rader. Dennis Rader is from Wichita, Kansas. The BTK killer. He named himself by torture killer. Was active in Oklahoma for a while too,
including very close to where we are.
Yes,
which that
very close
till recently wasn't
right
known.
So that all turned back into, there are reasons now, and there are protocols in place to protect children from Scout leaders, but then also protect children from other adults. And it goes back to, unfortunately, things like this happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't even remember. I think I was in 3rd grade before I went to even church camp.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom went with me.
I didn't even go to church camp.
Yeah.
Like, that was not, just no.
Like, I had a family member at church camp with me almost every year that I went. And except, I think by the time I was in high school, and then when my brother got old enough to go, I went as a sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how we got to go. But yeah, no, I thought the Girl Scouts getting murdered close by was a scary story that my public school friend told me.
Yeah, no.
I had never heard of this story until you said it. So
I almost asked you about your Easter traditions too.
you don't really have one. I mean, it's actually Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a freaking heathen. It's
yeah, no, obviously you don't have any Girl Scout ties. And your parents didn't let you do anything either.
True.
So Scout camp wasn't really a question.
I mean, that would have been considered a sleepover, and nope.
Nope.
Not going to happen.
Well, that's all I've got.
That's it.
That's it.
There wasn't that much paranormal spooky stuff in this
The whole
one.
second half was
he disappeared into the air.
A Native American thing. We could have talked more about Stikini, I guess, but Stikini and skinwalkers.
Yeah.
Stikini specifically, although everything I've ever read about them it's been women specifically that turn into owls.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I read that it was a claim that he could turn into an owl, I was like,
I mean, it's not to say there wasn't something else that could take, like Krypton said, there was something else that could go up into the air.
Yes, that is true.
Like, I don't know. So we've lived in an area that I've seen weird shit. Okay.
You know what I have never seen is an owl not acting like an owl.
No.
I've seen deer be weird.
I have seen deer a deer stand up on his back legs and walk away from the road.
I've seen a deer that was
That
hopping.
sounds so comical to me. Like it just stood up and noped out.
It scared the pee out of me. Otherwise, I probably would have found it amusing. But it's like at dusk, I was heading home when you lived in the other house
Mhm.
On back roads at dusk, and I see a deer, which you
Out by
dusk in
Out
Oklahoma,
by Oak Park.
out by Oak Park.
I've
And
seen so many things on
Oklahoma
Virginia.
in dusk, you watch out for deer, especially certain times of year.
Mhm.
So I see a deer, so I slow down because I don't want to do car meet deer. That's bad. And the deer gets up toward the road, and it kind of looks, and then it stands up and walks away. And I'm just like that. It's time to go home. It's not supposed to do that.
Okay, so I did some very shallow internet research here. The Stikini monsters are sinister creatures from Seminole folklore. Originally, they were evil witches who transformed themselves into owl beings. So we're not even talking about owl here.
Mm-hmm.
By night, they vomit up their souls and all of their internal organs. Because we got to include that too.
That's gross.
And
Ew.
become undead owl monsters that feed on human hearts. In some Seminole communities, speaking their name is thought to put you at risk for turning into one. So Stikini stories are only told by certain medicine people. In other communities, they have been spoken of more casually as boogeymen to frighten children. So,
Well, I mean, that checks out then with what the Native American said about the guy doesn't have the what
the
prerequisite.
quality.
He's not the quality
Yeah.
of person that could be that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, and then
He doesn't seem to fit any of the criteria.
Right.
only certain people talk about them because you're at risk of becoming one if you do.
Rosalie says that does make sense. I mean, considering you'd have to be a witch
Yeah.
person that would do
Yeah,
that
no.
anyways. I mean,
So I'm leaning more towards if he was able to shift, he wasn't shifting into that. He just
Right.
wanted to make himself sound like he was
Well-
shifting into that because that's bigger and more impressive.
And it is a undead owl-like creature in everything I've seen. Not an owl. So
No.
winged, but not just
an
like
owl.
woohoo, take off. Like,
so was the guy even Native American himself?
Gene Hart, yes,
Yes.
but he was Cherokee,
Cherokee.
not Seminole.
Not Seminole.
Okay.
Okay, I just found a question on Reddit while I was looking for him, and I just need to like throw this out there, and we can definitely talk about something that is not murdered Girl Scouts for a minute. If skinwalkers are out west and wendigos are up east, what's haunting the deep south? Do you want to live?
Right? We're getting
Let's
into
see.
Appalachia, and I don't think you want to know.
So, okay, so
So-
Rosalie says, so basically talking out his ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Trying to seem
And like,
bigger than
even
he is.
if he was able to shift into, I don't know, what's the lamest bird we can think of?
Sparrow.
Sparrow.
Yeah.
So he can shift into a tiny little shit brown sparrow and fly off into the air. Is he going to want to go around and say, "Oh, I can shape shift into a sparrow"? No, he's going to try and say he can shape shift into a badass owl monster.
Right. I'd pick the owl monster too.
Same. But in reality, he's not an owl monster. He's a shit brown sparrow.
I noticed he did not mention that he vomited his organs out to
No.
be an owl monster either.
True.
And nobody found any organs on the ground.
Yeah.
So I think we can rule
I
out.
mean,
Well,
I
I mean-
would have liked to get a hold of him, and
Okay.
then there would
Get
have
the
been
organs
Okay,
organs
on
so
on
the-
there.
I've got
Yeah.
a ad.
You've got. Oh, yep. I see an ad.
It's an ab.
It's an ab.
It's
Not an
abs.
ab. Okay. I'm about to word vomit a list once this ab is over. Because I think we can shift topics a little bit to shapeshifters for the next 30 minutes or so. And maybe get some ideas for things to talk about later.
Okay.
I really think Bigfoot is on the horizon. Bigfoot is coming. We're back.
He is not laying down.
We're back on the weirdest note. Okay.
Oh, Lord.
So in trying to figure out what a Stigini is, which I feel like we've ruled out Gene Hart being this mythological being, I think he was just a piece of shit and maybe knew how to distract dogs. He was pretty adept at escaping. I think we can give him, this much credit for that.
The rest of it, I just want to dig him up and decease him again.
Right? I've stumbled on this list of things for the South. Okay, somebody has word vomited. They went all Hannah on a Reddit post. So one person says Rougarou.
Yep.
Okay, then he starts by state making lists, okay? So in Louisiana, we have Bloody Bones, Papa Legba, and Bear Yosemite, which, by the way, not cryptids.
No.
Latiche, Honey Island Swamp Monster, Giant Catfish. We've got stories about giant catfish here in Oklahoma, too.
We have some giant catfish.
The Axeman, not a cryptid. I can't pronounce that. It's very French, but there's another thing on here. The Grunch.
I have heard of the Grunch in researching cryptids for another project.
Is he a mean one?
Mr. Grunch.
Bayou Gula Vampire, the Frenier Witch, Julia Brown, the Algiers Devilman, Acadian Werewolf, which would be the Rougarou, I think.
Yeah.
The Paralingua, I don't know what that is either. The Alti, the Skunk Ape, the Cajun Werewolf Doll.
Hard pass on all of that.
Madame Lalaurie, which we could talk about I don't like to say their name, it's French. Jean Lafitte, Marie Laveau, those are
not cryptids, and we don't put that on.
I guess that could be part of what's haunting the Deep South, though. That is
okay. Yeah.
Comte Saint Germain, Alligator Annie, Myrtle's Plantation Hauntings.
I have a friend who actually stayed at the Myrtles.
Oh my. And what is scarier is the Gulf of Mexico has Magna Pinna squids that are very real and look like something out of Lovecraft.
Yes, they do.
Oh, are those the ones that are like...
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Little baby Cthulhu's, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Little baby Cthulhu's.
Mississippi has El Diablo, the giant alligator, the Yazoo River and Pascagoula River mermaids. Chowan Monster, the Yazoo Witch, Taylor County Dogmen. There are dogmen in Mississippi. There are dogmen in Mississippi. But we'll explain later. The Moon Man of Kilgore Hills, Piazza Bird. Nothing that is fucking a bird is the thing I want to tangle with.
Nope.
Louisiana done been straight haunted. That's what it said.
Yeah.
The Wind Parish Night Riders, Lying Horse Rock, the Bear Riding Cowboy,
The Bear Riding Cowboy.
Gonna have to look into that one further. Man-eating varmint in Union Parish.
That sounds like a Brokeback Mountain kind of thing.
Not bareback. How
do you know he was riding the bear?
And then, of course, someone has to throw out here Florida man.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's where we loop back into the Stigini. Wendigos are not haunting anyone. They were an evil spirit that possessed people who were weak from hunger and succumbed to cannibalism. Like, we are rapidly defending Wendigos here. Not really defending, I guess. It's not a corporeal being that stalks the woods.
How do you know?
The Rougarou, Loup-garou, they're variants of werewolves. I
Yes.
need to add that to. Hold on.
I need to add that to something else too.
That was loud. That was loud. I was talking about for an episode. Oh, I don't know why I'm getting that out. I have Google Docs here, and I don't have a pen.
I got a pen, but you don't like them. I have a pencil.
Listen, the kind of pen you use matters.
It does.
I have a pencil.
Give me your pencil. Okay. So, I think werewolves are gonna become a thing. Rougarou, Loup-garou, werewolf, Beast of Bray Road, which goes back and forth between being a werewolf and a other kind of werewolf.
Can we do a werewolf vampire combo one where we like?
We're
No,
not turning this into a new fanfic Twilight episode. Yeah, we're not doing that.
Twilight fanfiction made a lot of money once.
Yeah, I know that, but
50 Shades of it.
Uh-huh.
Turned into 50 Shades of Green.
yeah, 50 Shades
And then
of
it's
Green.
also been included in musical form in another book.
It has! Someone may or may not have written a Twilight musical performance in a sci-fi novel.
It worked. It really did.
It was something. It was something.
No, I'll pass.
It's too late. You already read it.
Oh, I don't remember a musical.
They were on the ship and they were taking this acting troupe to a different space station and they were like, hey, we're here. It's a long flight. Would you like to see our show? And so they showed them the show.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There was an entire ballet. Yeah. Okay, now I really think I have exhausted everything, even with our 5 minutes of Stikini research.
Okay. Well,
So I think we're calling it.
is there pretty much? Well, give me a second here.
Are there any questions?
Is there any questions in the chat? Anybody want to contribute something to this? This was a rough subject for me, being a dad and a grandpa.
Same.
You're a dad and a grandpa.
Not
too?
a dad and a grandpa, Jesus.
I mean, when you got your own kids and you start talking about, kids being murdered at at camp and stuff like that.
A place where they are supposed to be safe.
Yeah, they're
Yep.
supposed to be safe. Adults are supposed to be there, paying attention, protecting them, and they don't, or can't, or the situation's just kind of. The whole thing was bad.
All bad.
I mean, you don't keep the youngest kids the furthest out. You keep the oldest kids the furthest out. And that's not because, they're expendable.
No, we're not wanting something bad to happen to the oldest kids.
They stand better odds of fighting.
Yeah.
Getting help, defending themselves.
Getting help. They know more what to do. And it's just, I don't know. It's a rough situation, and it's tough to even talk about. It messes with me, deep in my protective soul, to even think about this thing. And so this one was tough for me to listen to. We listened to, actually last night, she had a video pulled up and we watched this video, and it was just, I kind of just, not like shut down, but in a way I kind of just shut down. And so it was tough for me. As I expect it would be for any parent, having this discussion. And so that's why we did at the top of the show, said there's a disclaimer here. It's kind of rough. And there was a little bit of a paranormal side to it, not a whole lot. And that's why I kind of kept quiet. So
next time we'll talk about Bigfoot.
Let's go. I'm good for anything paranormal. I'm not a huge fan of like I said before, of true crime, but when both things tie together, that's, in a lot of places it does. Because, there's a haunting there. Why? Because somebody died there, or it was somebody's favorite place to be, and something bad happened to them.
There are some cases of ghosts solving their own murder, too, for people.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be interesting, too.
That might find itself into an icebreaker.
I mean, that could be a whole show.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Talking about specific times where that happened. And so if there's no more questions and no more comments from everybody in the chat, I think I'm gonna give them a minute or so, because I think we're I know we're lagging
a little early,
and we're about to tie it off about 15 minutes early, but
not biggest Bigfoot.
Biggest Bigfoot.
The biggest Bigfoot. As opposed to the littlest Bigfoot.
Okay, but there's like a whole children's series on Netflix. That's the son of Bigfoot, and they've made a sequel to it, to where this woman is married
to a Bigfoot,
and they have a child.
So there were some shenanigans. Some furry.
This is a children's program.
Shenanigans.
And I think they explained it that he was actually a human he was a scientist who had some kind of accident and then turned into a Bigfoot.
Sure he was.
Sure, Sharon. I'm sure that's what happened.
Well, all right. I think we gave him enough time to chime in here. So I guess let's... because I do have another stream to start in about 45 minutes or so. Was he a shapeshifter? Nah, I think he was just talking shit.
I think he's a piece of shit.
I think he was just talking.
Mm-hmm. Was there some weird shit that happened to, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. Ladies, do you know what we're doing next week?
I think we're...
Go ahead and say it.
I think we're doing Bigfoot.
All right. So we'll be discussing Bigfoot next week on the podcast here on Duck and Raincoat podcast. And I know we were going to go with aliens at some point too, but
yes, they're on the list.
They're on the list. Let's see what else we got. I know they're writing books, multiple books.
We're starting with Bigfoot.
We're starting with Bigfoot on one of them.
Yep.
Hence the reason they love mentioning Bigfoot. And then I've got. I know Tango was in the chat. I don't know if he's still there, but as far as I know, we're supposed to be streaming here in a little. We're starting about 5 o'clock. Right now it's 4:18. And then, let's see, next week, I think I'm still doing Tuesday. Hold on, Tango said something. He says, I'm here. We will be if if my game launches. Right. True. Yeah. That's very true. And if I can get this whole thing switched over, OBS was giving me some shit. I was trying to get this switched over to this setup and it was screwy. So, all right. Well, I guess we'll
see you next time.
Bye.
see you next time.
Standing on the edge of reality, sleepwalk toes on a paper thin ledge. Every thought like a moth in a jar, wings beating cracks in the glass. Looking at a hole in the air, breath held tight in my teeth. All the rules peel off like paint. All the names fall off my grief. I look into the dark till the dark looks back at me. Red eyes burning in the black, like they know what I can't see. On the edge of what I am, on the edge of what I'll be. I look into the void, and the void looks back at me. Yeah. Shadows twitch under my skin, crawl slow up the walls. Every scream's just a distant cousin of the echo in my skull. Howlers sing in a language that tastes like metal and snow. Ghosts fade through my fingers, taking every place I could go. I look into the dark till the dark looks back at me. Red eyes burning in the black, like they know what I can't see. On the edge of what I am, on the edge of what I'll be. I look into the void, and the void looks back at me. If I jump, do I fall, or do I wake up? If I turn, do I lose what held me up? Every fear has my face, has my voice. Every choice, just another kind of oh. I look into the dark till the dark looks back at me. Red eyes burning in the black, like they know what I can't see. On the edge of who I was, on the edge of who I'll be. I look into the void, and the void looks back at me. Standing on the edge of reality, whisper, are you still me? The abyss just breathes. then softly hands my gaze back to me.